No, it's this guy again.
Oh God, this guy.
How did he get the Zoom invite? Gosh.
I intercepted it from whoever else is supposed to be here. And to be fair, every single time you've asked me to be on this podcast, it's always, the message is always, hey, it's really late notice and I don't have anybody else. Can you come on the podcast again?
I know there's only 3 hours between showtime. I know you're on the East Coast. I know there's, a litany of reasons why you should probably tell me no, but hey, you can't tell me no.
I would never tell you no, Jeff. I'm here for you, buddy.
That's right. Welcome to Talking Heads, everyone. Episode 381, your once-weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff. This guy.
Hey, I'm Jordan.
Hello.
Good to be back, man.
Yes. Welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us on this Wednesday night or in podcast form over on Spotify or wherever your favorite podcasts are found. If you've never seen the show before, we talk beer, we talk tech, we talk games, pop culture, entertainment, sometimes some Star Trek. All super chats are read on the air so long as they will not permanently demonetize my channel. We do drink alcohol in the show. If you're drinking along with us, alcoholic or not, let us know in the chat and we'll give some early show shoutouts as we go along. Last but not least, if you'd like to take part in the super secret chat and the even more super secret after party, think about joining the Patreon. Link is down in the video description. As a bonus, you'll get exclusive access to my Discord server where you can chat with myself, John, Rhett, Steve, hell, even Jordan found his way in there, and join the awesome community that hangs out over there.
You just let anybody in if they pay $1, right?
Crap, that's how you got the invite. You were in the Signal chat, weren't you?
I think so. Oh, man.
Good to have you on. Thanks for joining.
It's always a pleasure. I miss talking to you, man. I haven't seen you in a little bit. It's I was last on January. Hold on. I have the technology. 29th.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right.
29th of January.
Yeah. And then we spent a little bit of time together at GTC in March. But yeah, no, it's always good to catch up and see what you're up to and whatnot. See what vehicles have blown up on you. And
you just went right there.
I just went right there.
You're right. So, for the audience's benefit, it is notated as my bone to pick with General Motors.
He goes, if we get into it, if like the conversation steers it that way, like I like to talk cars, and I've got like a thing that's happened in the last couple of months that I'm a little ticked about that GM finally acknowledged. Yeah, let's get into it, because I love starting the show with a rant. GM recalls nearly 600,000 U.S. trucks and SUVs after 28,000 L87 engines grenade themselves. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I was one of those 28,000 or whatever that blew up. Oh, screw it, it's a technical show, we'll get technical with it. So for those of you who are familiar with how a motor works, you have your piston hold on, I actually have a piston. It's not a real one, it's nuts. You have a piston that moves up and down.
I appreciate
and then
the
there's
visual.
A little oh, I'm trying really hard.
Yeah, there you go.
And then there's a little rod at that connects to the bottom of the piston, right? Mm-hmm. So my knuckles are firmly attached, and then there's a pin right where my wrist would be, right?
Yeah.
And then at the bottom where my elbow would be, which we would call a connecting rod in this case, that whole assembly is what moves up and down and pushes your truck along or your car or whatever.
Dinosaurs go in, they explode, your vehicle moves. Like that's
yeah. And if you like them, it makes a pretty sound when you do it. So, and this is slightly anecdotal before we get into the deep technical, but what I was told with the teardown of my motor was the retaining clip at that wrist pin that keeps the wrist pin there was allegedly maybe it was there at one point. At some point, it left the chat.
But is no longer there.
Correct.
Right.
So what that allowed to happen was down at the bottom at the connecting rod, that was able to now do kind of like one of these things on something that's not supposed to do one of these things.
Yeah.
and just absolutely smoked the bearings.
Yeah.
And it happened at the perfect time. It happened on a snowmobiling trip with my boys, pulling the trailer in the middle of nowhere in Canada, 110 kilometers from the closest town at negative 10 Celsius. So like 10-ish Fahrenheit, something like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't fun.
Yeah, I remember getting a text from you, and you're like, I'm on the side of the road. My truck literally just exploded.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think we were talking about something, and I was just like, I'm having a bad day, and we're going to have to talk later.
Yeah.
So through the power of 28,000 of these blowing up, it took 2.5 months for the replacement engine to show up to the dealership that I took it to. And they did replace it in 4 days. So I'll give them that. It wasn't the dealer's fault.
But by the way, my beer today is from the Brewing Project. It is the Gunpowder IPA. So
very fitting.
Yes.
I don't know if I sent you the video of. So I felt what happened, and I used to race, so I know like what catastrophic motor feels like.
Yeah.
And I knew. So I did get to a semi-safe spot on the highway, but
yeah.
That was lighter.
You sent me a video where you're walking around the truck and you go, "This is it idling right now."
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. Yeah. And it didn't put any speed holes in the block, thankfully, which means that the core charge was able to be good, and someone else will be able to get that block after they rectify it.
Yeah.
But 2.5 months of wait for that, and they finally recalled it. And so I did the whole NHTSA, National Highway Transportation Safety Administration. Yeah, I think that's right. Did their report like, hey, driving down the highway, truck full of people, truck boom. That's a safety issue. Now, in my case, it didn't, but allegedly there's some people that got hurt or something.
Hold on.
Oh no, he found it.
I found the video, and I can put the sound through my headphones so people will be able to hear it. Are we ready for this?
This is my engine.
Here we go.
No sound.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a magical day. But all things being said, GM is now on the hook for everything, including me being roughly 2,600 miles from home when that happened. Mm-hmm. And we'll see how it goes. But what a nightmare, because yeah, it's GM, but my last Suburban that I had, I took to 300,000 miles.
Yeah.
And I was like, I really like that truck.
Yeah.
It does everything I want. I'll get another one.
Yeah, there's a couple of... When I'm looking for a truck, a large SUV or something like that, mm-hmm. there's a couple of things that I look for. I want the block... If I'm buying a GM, I want an LS-based engine. Because mm-hmm. oftentimes in the trucks, they're not the aluminum ones, they're the iron blocks. They're 3 times as heavy as they need to be, which means they're 3 times overbuilt. They're often down-tuned because these are the engines that go in the Camaro and the Corvette and things like that, where they'll easily produce 550, 600 horsepower, stock, naturally aspirated. No, they'll put them into the trucks at 400.
They'll put it into a Cadillac Escalade V and throw a supercharger on it and give you 700 horsepower.
And give you 750
on this block.
Right, exactly. And so you get it in your Suburban and whatever else. You're pulling 420 horsepower, so you aren't even stressing that engine in the slightest. And it's kind of the same with like the Dodge 5.7 Hemis and a couple others. Mm-hmm. Like they are meant to go 250, 300,000 miles with regular fluid changes. Like that's all they ever need.
With the Dodge, you might go through 2 or 3 trannies before that, but you'll get there.
I said the engine specifically.
Yeah.
As the owner of a 2013 Dodge Ram 1500 with the
I still have an '07 Durango with a 5.7, and I'm only on one transmission.
Nice. I'm on my original transmission as well, so yeah. Oh. Did you want to say hi real quick? Okay.
Oh, we could do a hello.
Come say hi. There we go.
Hi.
Little bit wanted a hug. There we go. Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi.
All right, get out of here, you. That was silly.
Good times.
Yes.
Yeah, the thing's a dream, man. I just did a 4,000-mile round road trip with it in the last month. Drove great. It's been wonderful. I love driving the truck, and it was just one of those things that was like, oh, this is such a bummer.
Yeah.
And this is like, I know it's GM and they're quirky and they're weird and they have their GM-ness about them, but you're like, God, like you're not supposed to buy a truck and 3 months later the dang thing blows up like that.
Yeah.
And I don't really hot rod that much. I've considered the supercharger, but
yeah.
We'll see if this one makes it 20,000 miles. And we'll talk about some forced induction. Yeah. They've got good sales on them right now.
Well, hey, you got your truck back. GM's on the hook for it now. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tech news.
Tech news. Yes, we do have some tech news. There's some whispers in the weeds that Nvidia is going to launch the RTX 5060 on May 19th, the Monday of Computex. Whether or not it launches or is just announced that day, I don't know. But PC World's got an article up right now quoting a $299 price point. So basically lateral jump from where the RTX 4060 launched. The headlines are going to be negative for this. I didn't hate the 4060, and I don't think I'm going to hate the 5060. Like,
here's the thing with the headline, right? Like, the headline is the headline, and if you're like the proverbial us, and you like to build your stuff, and you like to have fun and tinker and do things. Oh, hang on, thank you very much. Drink delivery.
Cheers.
Yeah, you think the president's cool with his Diet Coke button? I've got a beer button.
Nice.
It's a joke. Love you. Thank you. If you're a tinker, if you're doing stuff and you're building it, I get it. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but for the, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of pre-builts that are sold in a life cycle, in a brief life cycle of some of these products, like, it meets a price point.
Yeah, and that's my... It meets the price point, and if you're not a tinkerer, who cares? Steam hardware survey. I brought this up a couple of months ago. This is the April survey. Guess what the most popular cards are? Let's go down the list, shall we? 4060 laptop, 4.8%. 3060, 4060, 1650, 4060 Ti, 3050, 3060 Ti, 3060 laptop, 3070. Oh, look, we got a 70 series SKU. 2060, 4070, we got another 70 series SKU, and the GTX 1060. There are more people with a GTX 1060 than a 4070 Super. Or a 3080.
I mean,
there's as many people on a 3080 as a 1050 Ti.
That's kind of funny, actually.
So... I know, and I said this in one of my more recent videos. Comparison is the thief of joy. And this card can't do anything because it only has 8 gigs of memory. Can it game at 1080p? Can I turn on the game and simply play it? Yes. Yes, I can.
And I promise you, Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to have a mode that will run perfectly fine on it.
Mm-hmm.
it's there's but also then there is the enthusiast side of my brain that's going, what is this? Oh, bend silicon.
Yeah. Oh,
it is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah, it's going to be 15-20% faster than a 4060, which means today it's a better value than the RTX 4060 was.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't hate that.
Yeah, I think the 8 GB thing is a bit of a travesty. I will concede that to the headlines and some of the criticisms that I saw about this, but yeah,
it's starting to be more of an issue.
Those pre-builts.
It's starting to be more of an issue for sure. But even in my game testing at 1440, there's only 6 or 8 games at ultra settings that exceed 8 gigs, and even fewer of them than that suffer performance-wise. Like, we can always point to, Black Myth Wukong is horribly chunky on 8 gigs of VRAM. Well, yeah, turn off ray tracing, and you can play Black Myth Wukong. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not expecting 4K path-traced graphics out of a 5060. So...
Yeah. I saw a comment scroll by about the price point on it, and I think you're half right, but also there's a cost. There's a bomb there that has to be taken into account. There's a cost of, geopolitical climate right now is a little testy. There's all kinds of there's all kinds of weirdness, with how things get priced. But you have the results of the Steam hardware survey, and obviously these are being sold. The 60 series cards are being sold somewhere. Somebody is buying them.
Yep.
And obviously they're using them.
I love the people who, whenever I show empirical data to, they're like, well, that's just slanted because, China has a bunch of internet cafes. And I'm like, when's the last time you saw an internet cafe?
Do they have this many?
And here's the other thing. Do you know where the majority of gaming PCs come from? It's not people building gaming PCs. It's people going to Costco and buying an iBuyPower or an MSI rig or something like that. That's where 10-to-1 graphics cards are sold.
I was in Walmart the other day. Yeah, I was in Walmart the other day, and I think almost all of them, except for a couple, had 60 or 70 series cards, and I think there was one that had an 80 series card on offer for a pre-built. And I don't think there's anything wrong with the guy who just wants to casually play computer games and goes and grabs one.
Yep. I have 2 gaming PCs upstairs, and that's where I do the majority of my gaming when I'm not handheld gaming, and I'm also not down here on my 5080.
I like, that's just a subtle flex when I'm not here on my 5080.
My 5090 is in an ITX rig out in my garage, to tell you how much I game on the 5090. But I do have a 5080 over here, and I like it. Like, I'm not going to say it sucks, but the majority of my game time, 85% of my gameplay, is on a Ryzen 3600 with an RTX 4060.
I remember, a number of years ago, whenever the 2090 and the 2080 and 2070 were relevant. So that's definitely pre-COVID, but
yeah,
by how much I can't remember.
18, I think those launched.
Yeah.
I
remember buying the 2090 and putting it in my system and being like, wow, this is great. Look at all these high benchmark scores I can get. And then downgrading it to a 2080 or 2070. Actually, Tech Tangents has that card now.
Oh, okay.
I remember downgrading it because something came up and I was like, oh, well, I could just sell this GPU and buy one for half the price and go and get something that's still going to meet all the stuff that I do every single day. And it was a no-brainer. Yeah. The 90s are almost excessive in some cases.
Yeah, I mean,
enthusiast gonna enthusiast. I'm not knocking you guys that want to go out there and go fast either.
Right.
I'll I'll be the first to admit I'm running a 1590 myself right now.
Yeah.
What do I do with it? I drive 2 ultra wide monitors so I could have Discord, Reddit, a Zoom call here, and another news feed over here.
Yeah.
Oh, and Numby's number factory in the bottom right.
Yeah. I don't even know what graphics card is on this machine because I don't play games on this machine. This is the machine that I sit down and I do my live streams on. I think I have. Hold on, let me look it up. Graphics, display adapters, 4070 Super. Okay, so
yeah,
I dropped a 4070 Super in here. I think that's because I had the card and I wanted a.
Those are good cards, man.
Really good card. Oh, the 4070 Super is incredible. But I wanted something with AV1, and that was the one card that I had on hand that kind of fit the bill. And I'm like, oh, you're going in the editing rig. So.
Speaking of AV1, Intel doing cool stuff these days with that.
Yeah.
I think that the Intel card, actually in the article that you linked, I think they're in the description, right?
Yeah.
The PC World called that out, that it's somewhere in the neighborhood of a B580. Yeah, there it is right there. And it's a little cheaper.
Yep.
Which I still love to see that.
Yeah. Yeah, B580, $250 retail price. Realistically, more like $300, $320 is what you can find them for when you find them in stock right now. But honestly, the B580 is a great card.
Yeah.
And one thing that didn't make my notes, I forgot about this, that we might actually be seeing a B770 launch. I saw a rumor come up about that, where big Battle Mage may not be dead. Yeah. Hold on, let me
hold on, you're gonna get me doing a Google search now.
Yeah, WCCF posted an article 3 days ago. Here we go. Intel's high-end Battle Mage B770 GPU could be unveiled as soon as Computex.
That would be fun to see.
Yeah. Could compete with RTX 5060 series.
I'm going to make the joke anyway, Intel, no, I love you. They got to figure out something to do with all those data center GPUs they couldn't sell.
I had some information about 6 months ago, and I gave it on the show. It was from a source, but I will not review the source or reveal the source. It was one of like those backroom conversations. That Intel was going to launch the B580 for Battle Mage, the B19 GPU or whatever, but their B32, which is their big SKU, they were going to make some flex cards with that. But otherwise, the B32 was not going to be pressed for retail for GPUs because Celestial, their 3rd gen GPU, on paper is ready to roll. And so they'd be in a situation where they'd be pressing a GPU and then 6 months later coming out with its replacement. And Intel didn't want to be in that position. And I went, that makes perfect financial sense, although right now you need to just make some money. And so I don't know if all of a sudden the new CEO comes in and goes, no, let's just press them and send them out. And so maybe that's what happened.
Well, I think you had a conversation a week or two ago with somebody who used to be over at Intel.
Maybe not.
I think they told the story on the stream about like, WTF are we doing? Why aren't we just going to put this stuff out and just go sell it?
Yeah.
And I knew about that when that was going on, and it was one of those things that it makes sense to just kind of do it and make the market happy to an extent.
Yeah. I mean, Intel, you drop a $399 B770 with 16 gigs of RAM right now, you're going to be everyone's favorite darling at the ball. Like, especially some of the higher end VRAM cards, because we're seeing some reviews come out for the 5060 Ti that the 8 gig model, if you game at 1440 and want ultra settings, it hampers that card so hard because of memory bandwidth, let alone of capacity. Intel, you put out a 16 gig card at $399 that hangs with that card and exceeds it at 1440p. Chef's kiss. You have a winner.
Yeah. And I was at Micro Center 2 weeks ago, and I saw, I think it was a B580 on the shelf, and I was this tempted. I was right there for it, and decided to make the proper financial decision, which was I don't need to buy another piece of computer hardware today.
Yeah.
But they're out there and available, and
Yep.
pretty dang good. There's a couple people, or there's at least one, and I think there's two total that I know of that use it in a very complicated live streaming uh, kind of a system where they're capturing on one system and then doing the encoding on another card, which is the Intel cards. And I mean, they've got the stuff that they're good at. They're just the best. I think AV1, yeah, you said it. It's the AV1.
Yeah.
Encoding on those things is absolutely wonderful. We well, for the audience, I think I'm going to be at Computex. Are you going to be at Computex, Jeff?
I am going to be at Computex.
Okay. So when we're there, I think we should take some time and go around and find all these little weird GPUs, because when I was there last year, I remember seeing there was just some oddball stuff that we don't necessarily get stateside.
Yeah.
That it's really intriguing. And
I have a standing promise to my sister to potentially bring her home a waifu GPU. Like she wants one. So she doesn't care what make, what model, whatever. Yeah.
If you want to go to the electronics market, definitely we'll get together and do that.
Yeah.
But there's even just at the show, there's like some very interesting combinations of hardware and things that I've never really seen when I was doing the review cycle stuff stateside come out, that everybody just brings it out, and it's like, why is this sitting in the corner? This is really cool. And it's like nobody pays attention to it, so they can't sell it, and it doesn't come to market, and it doesn't get popular. But
yeah,
the product exists somewhere.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to go find all of those little things again.
That's one thing that I love doing at CES is, you know, you spend your 2-3 days doing the meetings in the hotels and talking with all the normal vendors that we talk to. Everyone I talk to on the review side of things, they're like, avoid the show floor. It's just a headache. It's a pain in the ass. Like, I love walking the show floor and just seeing the weird crap that's there, because there's some diamonds in the rough in there. There always are. There's a couple cool companies that have put together a unique combination of hardware or done something a little bit differently than the rest of the fray that you're like, that is a genuinely good idea. Or implementing tech in the way that you haven't seen it before. There was, quite a few years ago, there was a company, God, I'm trying to remember their name. It was the year that all the folding screens were in vogue. And so you had LG and a couple others that were doing the folding displays. Yeah. Well, there was this company tucked like in the middle of all those booths that was doing touch-sensitive large pads for music making. And basically they said, we can create a drum kit out of a set of touch pads, and or create a tactile keyboard, or do all these other things, just like by reforming our touch sensitive pads. Trying to remember the name of that company, but super cool tech, like LCARS style, like do whatever you want on this flat display kind of tech.
I remember having, and I'll have to look it up, but it was a Palm. It was one of the first color Palm devices, and you could slide it up and a little camera would pop out on like a thumb whip thing at the top. And I remember downloading whatever the version of APK was for Palm. I can't even remember. God, it's been so long. But whatever version that was, that could reskin the whole device as LCARS. Yes. And just thinking I was the coolest guy in the tech. It's like, look at that. Got my Star Trek pad, man. Let's go.
Yep. I had a Palm 3, which was still a black and white one. I bought a handspring visor. I want to say in like 2001, 2002. Later on, I got the the handspring visor Vision, which was their 64 color one.
Okay.
And then I also had the Palm Trio, which was actually handspring that was folded back into Palm later on, years later. I had the Palm Trio 650. And
Okay.
I had that smartphone for almost 4.5 years. I ran that phone.
Really?
Yeah. Because it came out in like 2005, I want to say. And I got it right at release. And then the iPhone dropped in 2007. And I was one of those, don't take away my tactile physical keyboards. Don't give me that touchscreen BS. Like, I want the real keyboard. And I kept rocking on that 2 years after the iPhone launched. I had that same phone.
You know, there's one that I had probably 2006, and it ran Windows CE.
Mm-hmm.
It was HP, and you remember how the sidekick, you could flick it out and you had the full keyboard?
Yeah, that number.
This had that, but it wasn't a rotate, it was just a straight out.
Are you sure that wasn't HTC? Because HTC had the 8150 that ran
Hold on,
Windows
I gotta
CE.
look it up.
The HTC 8150. And that was around 2006.
I am almost positive this was an HP. I'm looking at the HTC 8150, and it's giving me modern stuff actually here. Yeah, I don't know. I'm almost positive this thing was an HP, like some sort of iPac branded thing. I have it somewhere, actually. I could probably dig it out. I'll spam the Discord with it later, but
nice.
I remember having that. And I remember playing Age of Empires 1 because Microsoft did an official Windows mobile port.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Oh, that's fun.
Yes.
I've always been a mobile tech enthusiast. Not necessarily phones, but like just mobile computing in general. And so I had everything back in those days. I had the HP Jornada 650 ARM powered little ultra wide ultra mobile PC. Jornada 680. Look up that little beast.
I see that.
Yeah.
You can get one for $700 on eBay right now, I guess.
Here's the Jornada 680. Had a compact flash card in the side of it, so you could load that up. It was like a 66 megahertz single core ARM processor. So those were always fun. They had a modem built into the side of them.
Okay.
It's not going to show me the... Yeah, had a modem port built into the side. 56K modem.
Was that a color screen?
Color screen.
Oh, it is.
Yep.
Here's one that has it turned on.
Yep.
Oh, that's cool. This almost kind of reminds me of like the Sony, like pre-Sony Vaio, the little kind of like Steam Decky Sony Vaio that you could get.
Yeah.
It also did the sidekicky flip up.
I had one of these guys. I had the Sony Clie, which
those were cool.
The unfold and then the screen rotated and then you can fold it back, and so it was like a convertible laptop tablet, but in PDA form with a rotating camera, so you could do selfies or face it away or anything like that. You couldn't video conference on this, but this ran like a bastardized version of Palm OS. With Sony's own skin over the top of it, so you could run all of your Palm APKs, and they for the most part just run on there with no problem. But it had Sony's skin slapped over the top of it. But full physical keyboard. Took a memory stick. I had a memory stick Pro, 256 megabyte that I loaded up with music, and so that. I was like, screw the iPod. I don't need an iPod. I've got my Sony Clie.
what was the? Oh no, it had to just be another one of those Sony. There was the mobile. There was a handheld, and you could buy it at the back in the day at Fry's Electronics. Yeah, it was some sort of mobile Vio, but I
Oh, you're talking about
remember.
it's called a UMPC. UMPC.
Yes, yes,
This guy.
UX. Yep,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I remember seeing it at Fry's. Yeah. Ran
I
Windows Vista.
I had one that was old enough that yeah, you could get Windows XP on in the earlier ones, and then
Yeah.
they switched. I'm looking at the thing, but I guess US market they only ever sold with Vista, but I
Yeah.
had one. Oh no, it came with XP Pro. There's one right there. The UX 180p.
Yeah.
Intel Core Solo.
Yes.
You don't get
Like
Duo.
800 megahertz.
There's no Duo on this. But yeah,
Yes.
I remember that thing, and it was absolutely awful to use, but I felt
Yes.
like a rock star using it.
That they were awful. They were terrible. They also made this guy, the Vio P, which I always wanted. This was my pie in the sky. It was an ultra wide laptop
Ooh.
about this big.
That's kind of cool looking.
It's super cool looking. So touchscreen, no trackpad, but it does have the ThinkPad inspired mouse nub. But something like a 1280 by like 1280 by 640, I think is the screen resolution. So it was beyond 16 by 9 wide. But also ran Windows Vista. These to me were just like the epitome of cool.
You know, I could see one of those kind of form factor, or like the Vio UX that we were just looking at.
Mhm.
That would be if you could get that in today's kind of horsepower, connectivity, and a nice Linux OS that was optimized for it.
If they made this form
If
factor today, I would buy one.
working in a data center or working on systems all the time and just having the ability to like,
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of did that with my Legion Go
Mhm.
from Lenovo, but without the physical buttons, I'm just old enough that even like to touch screen typing is kind of a
Yeah.
problem for me
Yeah.
sometimes, and give me the buttons, and you know what, if you only want to give me 10 of them, I can figure out how to get a C out of the A button. Do some tapping on there, but I'm just
Someone said Samsung OQO. Anyone? I owned one of these too. I had one of these.
these, yeah, I remember seeing
So
those.
full QWERTY keyboard in like literally like the same size keyboard as my Trio 650. Also had directional keys with 2 hot buttons under it for your mouse, and so it was touchscreen. But then you could also use that directional pad as a mouse, or there was a switch on the side of it to switch that over to a gamepad. And so, sorry, your mouse is over here on the left, and so it had like a PSP style joystick on the left, and then a directional pad with a center button on the right with 2 hot buttons underneath. And so you could do left and right click, or you could do gamepad mode, which was up, down, left, right on the joystick, and then A and B on the 2 hotkeys.
Oh, that's different. I just sent you one of the OQO E2, but the one that you're talking about is really cool. Pull up that eBay link because I think you should buy this for the channel.
Okay, let me.
Me and Chad are gonna bully you into buying this and trying to update it as much as possible and do a review.
Oh, that's freaking cool.
Look at the stuff it comes with, though. This guy's got it like complete.
Oh, he's got the full dock for it.
Yeah.
Oh man. Hey Vince, if you're in chat, I found something for you to buy. I didn't find it at PDX Land, but I know a guy. I don't like this as much because I feel like this is slightly hampered by the form factor. Because this is, what, a 5.5-inch screen? I've seen these before. They're tiny.
It's got a full-size HDMI port on it.
It does have a full-size HDMI port on it. Yeah.
It's crazy.
So here's the HDMI port compared to the entire device. Yeah, I think these are the 5.5-inch. And it's an 800 by 600 screen, so it's a tiny little display. I don't.
It's a VIA CPU.
Yes. Yeah, it's a VIA C7, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
The original OQO was actually either a Celeron M, or you could get the second gen version with the Atom, with the 1.6 gigahertz single core Atom processor, the first gen 230. So yeah, Intel Celeron M ULV ultra low volt, running at 900 megahertz, and the Atom, I had the Atom version, which was the 1.6.
Okay. I still, God, I really want one of these now for some reason. This is like the nostalgia retro tech enthusiast in me now.
Yeah.
You're making me go eBay shopping.
I have this effect on people.
You know who's really bad about that is Shelby from Tech Tangents has had me buy some of the weirdest crap off of you.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I don't want this anymore. Do you want it? And he's like, I'd love that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm convinced it's his way of getting me to buy crap.
Yes.
Sometimes. The mobile stuff. I don't know. I've always liked the nice big screen and the big keyboard to type on, but the mobile stuff has always fascinated me.
Yep. And
I think it kind of comes down to the user interface to the device has never really been fully nailed down, you know?
Yeah. Like I said, out of all the devices that we just went over, the one that I liked the most was that Vio P. Which is the ultra wide, small form factor. This, to me, if this came back today, this would be a very popular device. You know, hell, give me this with a 7840U. Can you imagine this form factor with 8 cores of Zen 4? Like the same chip they're putting in the Ally and things like that. It's stupid, right? But you could get this in this form factor with 2 hours of battery life at 30 watt TDP. No problem at all. I mean, this is what handhelds are coming with, is this form factor right here. Repackage it, give me a usable keyboard that's wide enough to use, give me a nice ultra wide display. I see the 12.9s on AliExpress all the time with the super, 22 by 9 displays.
And with Thunderbolt and Type-C docking these days,
exactly,
that chip still has enough power to drive a 4K display externally.
A full monitor and everything else. But yeah, for an ultra mobile, go work on a data center somewhere and you need to plug into a serial terminal somewhere. You need to have quick access to some kind of GUI interface, whatever. These are great. I love these form factors.
Or just give me, a nice... You know what I really miss? Do you remember the Surface Book with the weird hinge that was like all the fingers that would like expand and contract?
Yep.
I had two or three of those at different points through the product life cycle. Both with and without the Nvidia GPU.
Yeah, you can get it with that was a Pascal GPU,
It wasn't very good,
yeah,
but it was enough to do not crappy stuff.
That was the MX330, which I think was Maxwell based, is what that shipped with, something like that.
That sounds right.
Yeah. I bought a number of them for the MSP that I worked for. We had some people who were doing some things where the Intel integrated just wasn't up to snuff, and hey, we can get an actual laptop with an Nvidia card in it.
I don't think it's up here. My favorite Dell laptop, my 9500 series Latitude.
Yep.
That's the 2-in-1 that you can fold in half, is the closest that I've ever gotten to having the true experience of what that whole concept was, which was I can have a full laptop, and then when I need to go portable, I could just rip off the screen.
Yep. I
never really had a bad time with those, but it never really kind of lived up to what I wanted it to do.
Right. I've tried so many convertible hybrid laptops. They've never done it for me. I've had Dell for a while made the Venue 12 or the Venue 11, something like that. Like Sandy Bridge i5 mobile, but it was a 12-inch super high resolution tablet that had a keyboard dock with an extra battery and a hard drive in the base of it. I want to say Acer also had a very similar concept at one point with a 12-inch.
Yeah. Was that the one that ran Linux or Android and Windows at the same time?
I think Acer had one that was hybrid, or they had a Windows-only variant. I had the Windows-only variant of it.
Was Asus or Acer? I think it was
Acer that did that. But no, I had a Dell Venue 11 Pro, which was like the i5 V Pro version. Super nice laptop. Like it worked really well for a very long time. But Venue 8, I still have my Venue 8. It's over there in a box. 6 seconds I could grab it. With Intel Cherry Trail, the 8350 Z5 Atom Cherry Trail. 4-core, 4-thread, baby.
Let's go.
At like 4 watts.
4 cores is enough for anybody.
Yeah. What could you possibly do with more than 4 cores? Acer Aspire 1, the netbook. Yeah, it was a higher end netbook. It was based off the netbook design, but like, what if we actually built it into something? And so I think the model that I had was the Atom 330, which was the 2-core 4-thread Atom. Had like 2 gigs of RAM, but it was a tablet device that you could also dock into a keyboard dock and then use as a folding laptop. And that worked okay. But I've had HP convertibles dating all the way back to the T1000 and T1100, which the T1000 was the Transmeta Crusoe based laptop. If you remember that.
You're stretching even my knowledge on that one. Transmeta
was think of what Apple did with the x86 instructions when they went to the M processors. Okay. Transmeta didn't have an x86 license, so they built a translation layer to run x86 code and shipped a Transmeta Crusoe like 1.1 gigahertz chip that ran at equivalent speeds of like a Pentium 2 at 500 megahertz or something like that, and shipped it with Windows XP, running just standard x86 software. It just ran and it worked, and there was very little compatibility issues. But yeah, it was weird. Cheese says he remembers Transmeta. Yeah,
Cheese would remember that.
Cheese would remember. Yeah, it was a weird weird device.
Speaking of weird things that Apple does, you have a link. I need a bio break real quick.
Yes.
Intro that. I'll be back in 30.
Sure. Yeah, speaking of weird things that Apple does, is anyone actually asking for unnecessarily skinny phones? This has been an issue that's been cropping up more and more, and everyone's waiting for the next phone innovation. Hey, Apple, you invented the iPhone. What's next? Well, here's the Vision Pro. Oh, we all hate that. What else you got? Well, what if we put a higher resolution screen into it? That's been done. What else you got? What if we put like 4 cameras on it, but we made the cameras stick out so you knew the phone had 4 cameras? Well, everyone has 4 cameras now. What else you got? What if we made it unreasonably skinny to the point where it was bendable, but if you bend it, it'll break? Yeah, that doesn't seem great either. When you don't have innovation, you land on gimmick. And to me, I mean, the camera bump has been gimmick from the word go.
Yeah.
There's no reason you can't simply make a phone with the cameras integral to it. There's enough room. It's been proven enough times. there's no reason to remove a headphone jack. Scotty from Strange Parts proved that there's plenty of room to put a headphone jack.
That was a funny video.
In the current model iPhone. There's no reason you can't do USB-C. There's no reason you can't do a headphone jack. What else you got? Well, what if we made the phone even skinnier? You know what? Just give me a phone with a good battery that doesn't have all these bumps, that doesn't break the second yeah.
Give me this 50% thicker with more battery life. Honestly, I'll concede the ports to you because I'm perfectly happy living a wireless life.
This is my first phone in a very long time that doesn't have a headphone jack, and honestly, I'm just fine with it. Like
this is the 16 Pro Max for me in my hand size. It fits very well for what I do. It doesn't fit everybody's hands. Yeah.
With a case, this phone is 11.1 millimeters.
I'm not going to find tools to measure, but you can figure out what the Apple spec is. I would take this thicker.
Yeah, without a case,
with more battery.
The camera bump, it's 10.3. Without the camera bump, it's 9. Do we really need it slimmer than 9?
Well, this kind of comes back to the whole part where we were talking about the 4068 gig that they're releasing, right? Like, obviously people are buying it. And it is Apple, so there's a bit of a sense of kind of, we're going to tell you what you need to buy.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, how much longer do we all have to jump up and down and kick and scream and be like, can you please just make it thicker with more battery?
Yeah. Yeah, do you realize if Apple didn't force the 5 millimeter thick phone with, by the way, the camera bump that's the same thickness as this goddamn thing on us, they could quadruple the battery life in that device? Give me a phone that legit lasts 2 days.
Technically, Apple did that. I don't know if they still make it, but back around iPhone 10, you could get a Jimmy for your phone, a silicon case that plugged into the bottom.
God, that abomination.
And it I loved that because I didn't have to charge my phone for 2.5 days. And it was wonderful, and it was actually a pretty solid case.
Yeah.
But yes, it was a bit of an abomination, and it was kind of the whole, fine, if you people want to keep complaining about battery life, here you go.
Then here.
But this is going so far in the opposite direction, it's almost a slap in the face to be like, hey guys, can we just actually just make a thick one, please?
Yeah.
And actually give us the battery life and maybe not have it bend in my front pocket if I sit down in the car.
It is so... And look how tall that is.
That camera bump is atrocious.
That camera bump is... It's the same thickness at the camera bump as the old phone.
Mm-hmm.
So you save nothing.
Yeah.
And it is so much taller than the old phone. We all... Look, I'm taking the American education system for granted here. We should all know how levers work, right? Where the further away you are from a fulcrum, the more leverage you have to impart a force. That phone is so tall at this point, you're begging for it to bend simply by being in someone's pocket.
I remember Bendgate because I was a part of it.
Yeah. Yep. I remember Bumpergate.
Oh, you're holding it wrong.
Yeah.
It's a common theme of when Jeff and I get together anyway.
Yeah.
No, this is I saw this the other day. I think it came across my Reddit feed or something. I had Twitter maybe, and I was like, "There's no way." It's yeah. In the article, there's the tweet, Sonny Dixon. I was like, "There's no way this is real." Huh.
Yeah.
That's just give me more battery, please.
Just give me more battery. That's all I want.
Because I'll happily pay for it. This is a 1 terabyte model phone, and I paid through the nose for the freaking local capacity because I needed it. Because it was what I needed to do my job. Yeah. All right? I'll happily pay for it. I don't know. It's Let's getting the bar key out there. It's gonna do something good.
We're getting serious
Thunk.
now.
I did get a refill when I took my quick break, so
Nice. So it's only happened a couple of times, but my good friend Rhett and I, who's one of my usual co-hosts on the show, we like to occasionally do a Wine Wednesday, and Wine Wednesday sounded fantastic to me. I mean, I had the IPA to open it, but this is a real interesting one that's super affordable. When it comes to wine, I'm not really a cheap date, but this one does it for me. This is Red Diamond out of Washington State. It's a Cab Sauvignon. You can get this for $7.99 a bottle where I live, which is fantastic.
Have you tried mixing it with Blue Gatorade yet?
Ooh, I have not done that. Blue Gatorade's also a favorite.
It's the oh, have you not heard about? Okay, hold on. The alcoholics are going to come out now.
Uh-oh.
The wine Winerade or Vaderade or
oh god,
Venerade. I can't remember. There was a TikTok trend for a little bit about using the Glacier Blue Gatorade and the cheapest red wine you could buy and mix them 50-50, and it actually tastes pretty freaking good.
Really?
It was like, I was like, okay, like it's not as like some people were over the top. They're just like, this is the best thing I've ever had. And my wife and I, of course, were like, we have to know, right? Is this one of those you can't crush an egg in your hand over your head things, or like, what are we doing here? But it wasn't that bad.
I appreciate you sciencing this for us.
It was it was one of those moments where we're like, okay, there is some things on the internet that you can still trust, and how to get twisted while staying hydrated.
Yeah, I mean, did you polish it off with a Tide Pod appetizer? Like,
it wasn't that extreme. Oh man, Tide Pods. Now we have to have warning labels on those.
Yeah.
What a strange period of time that was.
Yeah.
The news, I remember watching the news somewhere being like, don't suck on Tide Pods. It's like,
why would I do that? Oh, it's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing. The hacker known as 4chan.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. Who is this 4chan?
Yeah. There was something that they were in the news for recently. I think the site got like brought down or hacked or something.
Oh god, it's worse than that. It got brought down and completely hacked to the point that basically every bit of personal identifiable information has been scraped off the site. Email addresses, physical addresses, phone numbers, full names. Yeah.
Anyways, I gotta go, guys.
Yeah.
No, that's one of those sites that I feel like I always kind of like drove by and looked through the windows really quickly. And
I wouldn't even trust my browser to it, if I'm being honest.
I'll head back to the normal internet now. Mm-hmm. There was like funny memes every once in a while that could come out of there, but
I am a particular fan of like the green text memes that come out. Like, sure. Be me, sure. I read the memes every once in a while, but I wouldn't go and get them from the source. I'd wait for someone to repost them on Reddit 3 months later.
And then the curiosity gets the best of you, and you want to see what's going on, and you look behind the curtain, and it's a raging dumpster fire, and you go, oh, okay, back to the regular internet now.
Yeah.
That's, yeah. I don't know. There's some weird places on the internet, man, and I'm from the internet.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
I finally got like a pretty well curated Reddit feed that isn't like complete political complete, like there's like I've got a good mix of like car stuff,
Yeah.
tech stuff, and then like I'm still subscribed to r/awe because I like the funny cat pictures every once in a while that come up that are super cute.
Totally.
But it took me years to get this Reddit feed.
Yeah. My not craft Reddit account, 12 years old. In 2 weeks.
How much karma you got?
200K.
On your not craft?
Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sitting right around 25K on mine.
Yeah. You're all.
Hold on. I don't know how old the account is. Oh, no, I'm in the 13-year club.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in the 11-year club. 2 more weeks. I joined the 12. So, here I will. Not even going to share with you my username, but I'll share with you my karma.
I'll send you one of my recent posts, and then you can judge me. The stupid yeah. I got sick of like I got sick of Twitter and TikTok and everything, and this was even like before the TikTok ban or whatever. It was just like, what the heck, like. It seemed like it was either I just was going in weird spots, and we used to do a lot of TikToks, and it is what it is, but it just always was kind of weird for how it felt like it was tracking you and listening to you. And
yeah.
I recently had to get a Facebook, and that's for personal reasons that we can discuss offline.
Sure.
But that also is now starting to feel kind of weird again, and all the reasons I got rid of that stuff initially, at least. My YouTube lately has been absolutely littered. I don't know if I have admitted this on this stream yet, but I have 2 admissions to you, chat.
Uh-oh.
I have 2 admissions.
Are we meeting
to
same
you.
time next week?
We are. Well, we might be. Tonight, I'm drinking.
Actually, in 2 weeks we'll be in the same place. So yeah,
we will. Work. Yeah, in 2 weeks we'll be meeting at the same time, same crappy place. I'm currently drinking a beer that's brewed in Montreal. Actually. It's 355 milliliters to 12-ounce can. It's Boud Latte. That's my first admission to you, chat. The second one is I am completely addicted to police body cam channels at the moment. I will get off of a call so what you guys can't see is like you're looking at the blank wall behind me.
I love that you're joining us from just the void between dimensions. Like, that's great.
Yeah. What's funny is I actually have really bitchin' art just sitting here on the floor, and I haven't put it up yet. I don't know.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, like I have good stuff. I just.
Yeah.
I'm so indecisive about what I want to do here. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to. These things are hard for me, guys. Huh.
Sorry.
I do have 2
more.
My
mods are chiming in. This is a safe space, Jordan, says Skull.
Oh, thank you, Skull.
Rev says, we don't shame people for what they drink, but then he grumbled.
Is he grumbling because he's drinking PBRs too? Or what?
Rev probably not. Yeah. So Rhett's actually coming to Taiwan with me, so you'll meet Rhett in person here in a couple of weeks. But his favorite beer is Rainier, like his favorite beer in the world. Yeah. And honestly, what I usually have around my house is 10-barrel pub beer, which is an Anheuser-Busch property, but it's brewed in Bend. But it's also just a simple American lager that you can get for 80 cents a can. And it's great.
I
will not drink Bud Light.
You don't have to. That's fine.
Yeah.
I don't like I don't subscribe to the whole if you don't drink what I drink,
No,
mentality.
not.
But yeah, it was right there at the store, and I went, grab that, and then of course it was another night where you messaged me too late to go buy more booze before I had to do my commitments for the evening. And then we ended up in a situation where it's like, well, all I have is a few of the Bud Lights that are left in my fridge from a couple days ago.
I was noticing you weren't announcing what you were drinking. So
I think last time it was Coors Latte.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah. Next time it'll be Busch Latte, and we'll go full circle with the cheap light beers. So, okay. So I do want chat's opinion on this. So I'm not a skater. I've never really had like the physical coordination for it.
Yeah.
I kind of could do it, like, like nothing crazy, just like, oh, ride the skateboard down the street with the boys, whatever.
Yeah.
And then now my feet are held together by titanium bolts, so it's completely out of the question to get into.
Right.
But I want you to check these out.
All right, let's.
Okay. This is I'm starting the collection. Okay.
Oh, those are cool.
So this one is signed. Oh, weird.
Yeah.
This one is signed by Knoxville and Steve-O, and I got it at Steve-O's show. And this one I went to Casa Bonita and got it. I'm trying to figure out a good way to show it in sections. Casa Bonita, more sopapillas, please. And it's got Man Bear Pig on it and everything.
Those are so great.
So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is behind me here, and a lovely friend of mine, Ashley, printed me some 3D printed holders to go through the holes.
Yeah.
And mount them to the wall. And what I'm thinking I'm going to do is, as in my travels, if I see a cool deck that I really like, I'm just going to like line the decks as like a straight, like just butted right up next to each other.
Sure.
On the wall.
I would actually give like a 1-inch gap and maybe do some LED backlighting to them, so it kind of halos them a little bit.
You're such a gamer. RGB it, bro.
I didn't say RGB. I just said LED. You could rainbow unicorn vomit that all you want, but I just said just a little accent light just to give it a little pop.
That might be really good, especially if we're gonna do this. I don't know. It's this wall. Because trying to think if there's anything incriminating if I were to turn the camera over there. What you can't see is my shelf of like weird collectibles and Star Trek stuff.
Yeah.
And then like I've got like a Buzz Lightyear, and then I think you have the same Ken and Barbie Star Trek action figure, don't you? Yeah, we've compared that one before. That shelving system unit over there is like really popping as far as like decorations goes.
Yeah.
But it's not like on like Zoom calls or whatever, it's never like there.
Yeah.
So I was thinking skateboards make me look cooler than I am or something. Oh man.
Yeah.
Did we miss a super chat a little bit back?
Oh, I think we did. Yes.
Okay. Mark Chambers.
I do have the Star Trek Risa statue, Yusik Jamaharon. I have that right there.
That's cool.
Yeah. 3D printed that out of wood filament because that's a requirement.
It is.
So yeah.
Naturally.
Yeah. I've been wanting to like you know what I should probably do to it? I should probably take my my Hacksmith lightsaber and give it a little scorch marks and then stain it and seal it. I think that would be really cool.
Okay. So I have two things to share with you in chat, which you can decide what you want to see first. Something new or something old.
Ooh. Let's go old first. I'm gonna vote old.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
It's a Thermos branded, genuine Star Trek the Motion Picture lunchbox. It's got everything you could possibly want in your Thermos branded Star Trek lunchbox. I think, is there stuff on the bottom? I can't.
Yeah.
Oh, it's upside down. There we go. There we go. Yeah. So it's obviously seen some use. I can't remember what's in here actually. Oh, I do. Fucking tribbles.
Tribble. I have a couple tribbles.
There's a lot of tribbles. But this was gifted to me by a family member who's no longer with us. It was one of the last presents I got it for Christmas, but I do appreciate it. It is, I mean, there's their Paramount copyright. Blah, blah. It is a legit,
that's cool,
lunchbox. So maybe I want to show up with that to an event one time.
I mean, you're talking to a guy with a batleth on the side of his server rack.
Yeah.
I've got the batleth. I've also got the officially licensed replica of the Doktog Klingon dagger. From 1994 from a company called United Cutlery, which was a collaboration for Star Trek Generations, the movie. I have the Doktog with the scissoring blades that shoot out the side of it. I have some Franklin. I have a couple Franklin Mint collectibles.
Really?
I have the 3D chess set Franklin Mint.
Oh,
the gold and silver plated chess set.
That's kind of on my list of things that I want to get.
I had years ago, like 12, 14 years ago, something like that. Back when I was doing freelance stuff to help pay bills. Had a guy that had me come up, do some work for him, like a dentist office in Portland, and then ended up not having cash to pay me. And so I was sending nasty grams and things like that. And finally he goes, "Hey, could I just like trade you some stuff and we call it good?" I went, "Probably not, but what do you have?" And he goes, "I don't know, I've got like old computers." And I'm like, "I don't want old computers. Like no." And he goes,
and the next conversation you had was, "Hey babe, so I know we're going to be eating ramen this month, but check out."
And then he goes, "Well, I've got some like Star Trek collectibles." And I went, "All right, what do you got?" And he goes, and so he sent me some pictures, and he had the Franklin Mint 3D chess set, gold silver plated, with the stand, with the box, with the COA, everything. And he also had the gold plated Type 2 phaser with the stand. And I went, I'll take those. So I have those.
Yeah. Wynn donated plasma to pay rent that month, but
we may have, like
things.
Look, we
have
paid
a way
our
the
rent.
Universe works its way out itself out.
That's right.
Okay.
We paid rent, and now I have a chess set. Mark Chambers, like 40 minutes ago. I saw this, and then the chance to say it left, and I forgot about it. So my apologies. Mark sends over 10 New Zealand dollars. Thank you so much. Sorry to say the PC Master Race is not now the top dog. Average Joe console owner is the target audience. And yes, so we were talking about, that was back in the 50-60, 40-60, who buys what graphics cards talk. I do remember the context of it. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely right. The more expensive PC gaming gets, the more appealing console gaming will be, and we've seen the ebb and flow of this over the years. I mean, look at the Xbox 360 when it launched, what kind of graphics it was capable of against the comparable PC, and it was the Xbox was out hitting its weight by 3x as far as performance goes. Like, you legit had to buy an $1,100 PC to get the same kind of graphics that a $299 Xbox 360 was getting you.
No, I told my wife it was only $800.
Right, yeah, or whatever number I said earlier.
It was like $700, but then I had to get the $100 add-on, and there's tax.
I love the American Dad episode where Stan is building a DeLorean, and she goes, "Stan, how much did you spend on this?" He goes, $16,000, and she goes, "You said I couldn't get the shoulder surgery." And then later in the scene, he goes, "Yep, 5 years and $43,000, or whatever number I said earlier.
Yeah.
There's a lot of math involved.
Yeah. It's guy math.
It's guy math.
Happens.
Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It happens. Are you into Legos?
Yes. Ooh.
You don't have one of these.
I don't have that one. Hold on. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's...
You know who to ask.
I know who to ask. Yeah. Why didn't he show me that? He was on the show last week.
Well,
Alan was on my show last week.
He can't get you that.
Yeah. Okay.
He can't get you one of these. But it's got the U.2 connector on it.
That's cool. So I showed Alan this last week.
Okay.
Which is the Dell 2U server with Intel Optane inside, which
it does have it. Okay.
Which Alan was quite interested in.
I bet he was.
Along with all the DIMM slots and the fans and then the Intel badge on that and whatnot. I have a deal with him where I'm sending him my second new in-box version of this in a swap for a similarly cool Lego that I'll probably do a quick little video on it for the Patreon because I want it. This is from another Patreon that I have. Crazen. Starts with a K. I can never remember exactly. Hold on.
It's not Kaiser Snooze, is it?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Anyway, he came to PDX LAN and he brought me this, which is the Dell AI Factory.
I have one of those.
Lego, yeah.
I got that at Supercomputing.
So I got the Lego guy with the Latitude laptop and then the Dell server rack. Yeah.
Somewhere around here, I have the Dell AI Factory, and then I have I don't have the Dell guy with the laptop, but I have a CDW guy.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So Alan is sending me a full 4 server rack with cables Lego that was made.
Okay.
In exchange for my Optane server.
Are we gonna have a company flare one up? Hold on.
Ooh. Cruiser. Thank you, Zach.
Okay. I want to see if anybody can. No one's gonna get this. You ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Supermicro branded chips.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
It's not just like the pillow, because they did make a pillow too, and I was like, no, I want the real chips. You can keep the pillow, I'll take the chips.
I have a PCB way pillow convertible blanket.
Oh. Does it open up into like a...
Yeah, it's a pillow, but then it unzips and then it unfolds into a blanket. Like the stuffing is a blanket. And so you can use it for either.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I have that's like just super hilarious.
So I'm looking up at my shelf over here. I don't think I've ever shown you this one. Give me 10 seconds.
Hey, somebody hold Jeff's beer. Oh man, this is what happens when Jeff and I get together, because we get to do a lot of the same stuff. But yeah, so I think Ian was actually there when I got those. These actually came. So somebody in the comments will probably correct me, but this guy is like a brand of chips, and the way it was explained to me is it's good boy chips or something like that, and it's a symbol of luck in Taiwan or something. So when Supermicro did this last year for Computex, if you look, it's a liquid cooled, sorry for the reflection, it's a liquid cooled Nvidia H100, H200, whatever, from Computex last year rack. And it's supposed to mean good luck, but I think ultimately it ended up being don't cook the books or something. I don't remember how it played out, but yeah. There was a whole thing behind it, but yeah, they were handing those out to us last year.
Nice.
There's somebody who asked about. They said Tech Potato wants to know my location. I'm assuming it was the chips.
So this is my Lego Walt and Jesse from Breaking Bad.
Okay.
The Walt standing in the button down in his underwear, and then Jesse with the hoodie.
Let's get the beanie on.
Yep, and the beanie. And this is the Breaking Bad RV, complete with glassware and meth lab on the inside.
If your house gets broken into tonight, it wasn't me.
So this is a Lego mock set that I bought, and then it didn't come with enough glassware, so I actually finished it out with like a Lego chemistry set.
Did you get that off like Bricklink or something?
Yes.
Okay.
So there's also like drying racks for the meth. There's barrels of methylamine over here. It came with a cell phone and a revolver as well. Walt's second phone and his revolver and everything else. They can actually sit up in the driver's seats as well. And so I've taken some pictures of like Walt driving the van with Jesse passed out with an air mask over him in the front of the van.
That is so stinking cool.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite possessions. And has the full.
Yeah, you can build the top back on.
Has the air conditioners on it as well and everything else. Yeah, this is a cool build.
That is a good one. I just got the Concorde, and I'm pissed because I spent a bunch of money on it that I probably shouldn't have, because they just released the 747 with the space shuttle, the SCA, the shuttle carrier aircraft.
Yeah, I just saw that set go live. Yeah.
So now I'm gonna have to build the Concorde and the SCA.
Yeah.
To go next to my Titanic, my Saturn V, and my other space shuttle, and my lunar lander. And
I as a kid had the very first space shuttle set, the space shuttle launch tower. Yeah,
I did too. I had that one. That one had really cool. You could like retract the wheels on it and everything.
The wheels retracted. The cargo bay doors opened. It had the arm that came out, and you could launch a satellite.
I think it had a Hubble. I think the Hubble telescope. Did I freeze?
It was some amalgam of a Hubble or some kind of satellite. Yeah.
And then I remember being a kid and flying that thing around everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to be an astronaut, but my eyesight sucks, so we became a pilot instead.
I kind of at one point I wanted to join the Air Force and become a pilot, but I have two things against me. Number one, I'm 6'5". Number two, I'm red-green colorblind.
Oh, yeah, that'll do it.
And so it's like once I was like 12 years old and hit 6 foot, it's like, well, at least I can still learn to fly a plane. Oh, nope, can't do that either.
Yeah, what was I talking about? Someone with you. Actually, I need to go renew my medical. God, thank you for reminding me. Hang on, I'm gonna put a calendar reminder on right now. There was something I was talking to somebody about the other day, and it came up, and I think it must have been related to roller coasters, and they're like, "Doesn't that bother you and make you?" So I'm like, "I'm an aerobatic rated pilot, man. Like, I think a roller coaster's gonna get me upset.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a flight I can't drive."
Hold on, Jeff. P1. How much DDR4 Optane can you use feasibly? I mean, if you're talking the PMEM modules,
you can't use any. Send it all to me.
Can I use? Well, I've got 2 boards that'll take it. You do have to have some DDR4 on the board, but you can use it in some really weird ratios, even though it's not supported. The ideal ratio is 4:1, is what they recommended, and so 4 terabytes of Optane to every 1 terabyte of standard memory. But there's no reason you couldn't put 2 256 gig DDR4 sticks and a couple of 6 1 terabyte modules on there. Like, you could totally do that. So Green, I'm not saying, I'm just saying, like 12, 16, like, I would use it. I would find a way to use it. I absolutely would. And that'd be really fun. Yeah, how many modules can Jeff use? A lot.
I'm curious if you could write.
He's got a bunch of 256 PMEM modules. Are they Gen 1 or Gen 2? Because I've got Ice Lake, so it's Gen 2. Or do I have Cascade? Is it Cascade? Whatever second gen scalable is. God, I forget. Second gen scalable. Cascade Lake. I have Cascade Lake.
I'm at the point in my life where things like the code names and stuff like that are getting
ever more blurred.
One piece of brand new information goes in here, and like two
pieces
other
squeeze
ones
out the other
fall
side.
out the other side. I've come to
Granite
accept
Rapids.
it.
Cheese's favorite subject, Granite Rapids.
Granite Rapids.
Granite Rapids, Granite Ridge, because AMD launched Granite Ridge and Intel launched Granite Rapids, two completely separate products within like 2 months of each other. And the lore goes that me and Cheese were at an Intel event, and Cheese
I was there too.
You were there too. Yeah,
I was there.
Yeah, I was shooting a video with Cheese, and I was operating his camera for him, and he couldn't stop saying Granite Ridge. Like, no.
Do you remember?
Rapids. It's Granite Rapids.
Do you remember the things that I did?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was actually at a different event. So he was saying Granite Ridge at an Intel event, and then we went to the AMD event, which was which was the Granite Ridge launch. And yeah, you.
Well, there was that.
Yeah.
But do you remember in the hotel room? Not that we were shooting in the hotel. Oh my God, yeah. We were shooting a video in the hotel room.
Yeah, we were shooting a video in the hotel room. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
was making provocative motions.
We were
Cheese's rapid ridges.
That's right. That was just a couple of months after. So he kept saying Granite Ridge when he should have been saying Granite Rapids. And so at one point I made a cue card on my phone, and every time he would make a mistake, I would hold it up and it'd go Granite Rapids, Granite Rapids, Granite Rapids. Well, there's another user in my Discord named American Cosworth, and we give him a lot of crap because he drives a truck. It's a Honda Ridgeline. And it's a Honda Accord with a truck. Yeah, with a truck bed on it. It's a good car. Like it's fine, but we just like to give him crap for it being such a weird vehicle. His official name in one of the other Discord servers that I has now is Granite Ridgeline.
Oh man. You know what? It's an useful minivan, and I like minivans too.
I have a 2022 Toyota Sienna.
I vote we still make fun of him for driving a Ridgeline now.
Totally. Absolutely. I have a Toyota Sienna hybrid with a 2.4 liter inline 4 and the Prius drivetrain. And I love that thing. It is the most gutless vehicle I've ever driven in my life. It has a CVT transmission. It is everything wrong with automotive excellence in general. But it's a minivan that hauls my entire family over a mountain range and gets 34 miles to the gallon doing it.
I was about to say I can do all of that in my Yukon at 11 miles per gallon. Right.
No. We took my family of 5 over the Cascades to Eastern Oregon, like up and over the peak of the Cascades. And with a weatherproof bag on top carrying our luggage. So not even like a sleek, like tonneau thing over the top. No, like essentially a scuba wetsuit strapped to the roof of our vehicle, flapping in the breeze. And we got 34 miles to the gallon going up the mountain range.
And that's what, a 4-banger with the hybrid drivetrain?
2.4 4-banger with a CVT and a hybrid. Yeah.
If you're staying in the confines of that, I think you're great. Does that come in all-wheel drive?
It is all-wheel drive.
Okay.
It is 2.4 liter with mechanical drive to the front. There's also an electric drive that can also drive the front, and then there's a second electric motor in the rear to drive the rear axles.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, if you don't need to tow anything bigger than a wet fart, you're good to go.
Yeah. We have a tent trailer that we'll tow occasionally. 1,250 pounds, and it's fine.
Meanwhile, I'm over here looking at 2.5-liter superchargers for my 6.2 V8.
Yep.
Going, what can I do to get worse gas mileage?
Oh, and my truck is a 5.7 Hemi, so I totally, yeah. I totally get the other side.
Actually, you know what? I bought my wife Dodge Durango 22 or 23, bought it used, with the Pentastar V6 in it, the 3.6 liter.
Yeah.
I've had a bit of a philosophy for the last, decade, that I refuse to buy anything with less than 8 cylinders. I've bought cars with 10, I've bought cars with 12. It's just been a philosophy.
Yeah.
And I had a buddy of mine who may actually be in chat right now, who had one of these Pentastar V6s. And I was like, I don't know. I was like, the price is right. The truck meets everything that we want. Like, it's Durango. Like, it's everything kind of makes sense. But like, I can't get over this V6. And he's like, just trust me.
Yeah.
Just get it.
Yeah.
Holy crap! I love that motor.
So my other vehicle that I drive, so I've got my 5.7 Hemi in the truck. I've also got a 2008 Mazda CX-9, which is the 3.8 liter V6, which is something to know about me. I hate Ford with a fiery passion.
Yeah, I'll never buy a Ford. Even if they're actually are coming out with the 2026 Excursion, which I licked the phone when I saw it. Again, big guy, big truck guy.
I hate Ford.
Not gonna buy it.
I've never had good luck with Fords. Every Ford that I sit down in, the interior is junk compared to any other vehicle in its class. And Ford for 70 years has not figured out how to properly tighten a head gasket bolt so it doesn't leak oil within 20,000 miles. Like every goddamn one I've ever been around.
What do you need a head gasket bolt for? I mean,
right. Yeah, exactly.
Come on, man.
But we bought now some people who have already done the math on this understand that I also drive a 2008 Mazda CX-9, which was the precursor to the Ford Edge and Ford Escape. It is a shared platform. It is the Ford 3.8 liter V6 that later went into the F-150 and the Mustang. It is the first version of this V6 engine.
That's the turbo or no?
Non-turbo. They later turboed this. It's the 3.8 turbo that later went into the F-150. That got the dual turbo. It has been absolutely bulletproof.
Yeah, actually I do hear good things about those. Oh god, we're back into car talk and I can go all day on this. So I was all pissed with
Luckily
GM,
it's also not a
obviously.
Ford transmission. It's a Mazda 6-speed automatic transmission, and that thing has been also bulletproof and freaking amazing.
The Hurricane from Dodge or Mopar Stellantis.
Mm-hmm.
Have you driven anything that has that twin turbo inline six?
I have not.
So I got all pissed off because the whole GM situation, which I apologized to my truck, and then I cut and polished and then waxed cut, polished, and ceramic coated the entire thing as an I'm sorry for going to look at a dirty Mopar again. I went and looked at, so there's a class of vehicle that I say that I need, right? But it's because I'll go out on a whim and do 1,500-mile road trips to accomplish a mission that I need to do.
Right.
Whether it's work related or personal, I can spend if I can spend 15 hours in my car and it basically drives itself the whole time, and I can get out and I'm only restless to get out of it. That is a fantastic vehicle to me.
Yes.
I'm not getting out tired. I'm not getting out fatigued.
Yeah.
I actually do need to have a couple beers to calm down because I'm so hyped to be there.
Right.
I feel good. That's a win to me.
Yeah.
And my Yukon to me is that. Okay. So
nice.
I have a certain kind of bar that's not easy to meet financially or build quality wise to achieve that. I went out and I looked at the Jeep Grand Wagoneer L, which is the long wheelbase Series 3 Obsidian. And the sales guy basically chucked me the keys and said, have fun. And that has a twin turbo Hurricane in it.
Yeah.
And holy shit, that motor slaps.
Yeah.
It has a 9,000 pound tow rating, which is, I believe, about 1,800 more than I have, but I don't even tow up to my max anyway, so it's not like it's a big deal. But what they've done with that engine, I think is really impressive. I'll be interested to see, because I think that came out 3 years ago or 4 years ago, around 2021, 2022.
Yeah,
in the pickup trucks.
Yeah, I drove a family member of mine has a 2021 Grand Cherokee with the newest revision of the 5.7 Hemi. And so I did drive that one. And whereas my truck gets 390 horsepower, this was like 475 out of the same block. But mated to a really, really good 8-speed automatic.
Yeah, the Mopar 8-speeds are kind of nice right now.
Yeah, they are.
My wife's Durango with the V6 has an 8-speed in it, and it may or may not be the same. I actually can't. I actually don't know.
I think a lot of the I think they're using the same 8-speed. That they use it in the Charger, they use it in the Challenger, they use it in the Jeep, they use it in. I imagine they use it in the trucks. So they're nice transmissions.
Yeah. I haven't driven one of the new 5.7s, and I'm kind of scared to, because I'm enjoying the gas mileage out of my wife's V6, and it's more than enough for her.
Yeah.
It gets up and goes.
Yeah.
It's a pretty lightweight for a full-size SUV. It's pretty lightweight.
Yeah. But no, I borrowed the Grand Cherokee for a week, and that was nice.
I ran into the same problem when I was looking at the Grand Wagoneer. Is when I was shopping for my wife's car, which was Hellcat or V6. I can't justify spending $100,000 on a Mopar product.
Right. Chat says there are two versions of the 8-speed. There's one for lighter duty V6, and then there's the heavy duty for the truck. So yeah, the cars and the light SUVs get the lighter version 8-speed, which makes sense. It's
probably all based on the same things, or very close at least.
I imagine it's similar gear ratios. I imagine it's more just heavier duty components in the truck to help with the tow rating.
Kind of like GM used to do with the L60 or the L80 or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Which is also apparently, I think, identical. GM and Ford are making the same transmission now.
Very similar, because they're all Allison based. right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is apparently not also having longevity issues. I have another 30,000 miles of warranty on mine, so hopefully I can blow it up before then. And then
Yeah.
new motor. I don't know where that supercharger came from. It just fell on there,
Yeah,
guys.
weird.
Need a new transmission. No, the car thing right now. Have you been in one of the new and I always get these backwards. There's the Charger and there's the Challenger. The Challenger is the two-door. Have you been in the new electric Challenger?
I have not.
Okay. I got to do one yesterday.
Okay.
Day before yesterday. Underrated by reviewers.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's similar to the situation that happened with Ford when they took the Mustang and went from rear-wheel drive, front big V8,
Yeah.
muscle car to weird EV thing that's a crossover.
Yeah, the Mach E. Also very similar to when they put a four-banger turbo in the Mustang.
Which wasn't bad. I've driven those as rental cars.
That was actually pretty darn good. I liked that combo.
That had the four-banger turbo in the Mustang, even with the kind of sluggish automatic that it had in the rental car that I had, gave me the vibe of there's nothing more fun than driving a slow car fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Even though a modern day Mustang is a big heavy car. You know, they're not the svelte sports cars that they used to be. Like I've driven a number of Mustangs through the years. I had a family member with a 2004 with the V6 and a 5-speed. Had another with the 2004 V8 GT with the 6-speed. You know, I've driven quite a few of them through the years, and they're not as nimble as the 90s or the Mustang 2s or the Mustang 1s or anything like that. You know, they're built for a certain driver, American driver. But and I've always gravitated towards, you know, the Japanese sports cars. I've had a Toyota MR2, I've had a 350Z, I've had a couple of Celicas, I've had some fun cars. But I did like that four-banger turbo.
You'll find this very sad. You know, without getting into doxing myself specifically, small town, there was a fire at one of the high density housing or medium density, I guess, apartment complexes, and a G36 Vert hardtop got burned up in that, and it's still sitting there, and I drive by it every day. Yeah. I loved those cars. A
buddy of mine does have a G34. So
okay.
Yeah.
I've been keeping an eye out for a nice G36.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be a convertible.
Yep.
Nice G36, something clean. I did see, I'll have to send you the picture after the stream because I'll have to dig through my phone for a while.
Yeah.
I saw a really cool Skylane on the road back a couple weeks ago, and it was super clean. The Japanese sports car from that like early 2000s era, super cool.
If I could ever find, I had an opportunity to possibly go buy one a couple years ago, a proper JDM import 99 Celica GT4.
Ooh.
All-wheel drive, turbo, right-hand drive. The car that got Toyota banned from autocross and rally races.
Neighbor of mine had one of those growing up. I remember that thing was cool.
Yep.
I was gonna ask you, but I remember you just sold the 350.
Yeah.
Pour one down the hatch for the homie.
2004 Nissan 350 GT convertible. Yep.
Yeah, those were tight cars.
Yep. 6-speed.
Okay.
Yep.
This is another first world problem, poor me thing. I pulled out I have an E65 BMW with the 4.5 liter V8, 4.4. Pulled it out of storage, got everything ready. Let's enjoy springtime, bring the car back out because I can't afford winter tires on all of my fleet. Let's be real.
Right.
Oil in the coolant.
Oh no.
Yeah, pulled it out of the garage, let it run for about 20 minutes, drove it around the block. Like everything's going good. It's got every warning light in the world on the dash because it's a BMW.
It is a BMW.
And the battery was dead. They're super hypersensitive to voltage, so it was just literally a low battery issue.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, like car's back, baby. Let's go.
Yeah.
And then a couple days later, like the hood latch was sticky. So I'm like, hey, babe, can you come help me? I got to get the front of the car open. I'm going to go, jiggle the handle inside. If you can just kind of get your fingers in the kidney.
Yeah,
and
do
go,
like a
while I do that. And we popped it open and I start checking. And I'm like, oh, oil level's great. Like it didn't leak out all of its oil, which is shocking for a 2004 BMW.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of people who don't know how to properly torque bolts on heads.
Yeah. Get over to the coolant because I know it has a coolant leak and it's in a place that's hard to get to, but it's slightly inconsequential.
Right.
If you're not doing like 6-hour road trips, it's inconsequential. I've worked on enough of these cars in my day that I know what kind of you can get away with.
Yeah.
So I got the car running, right? Like I checked the oil, checked everything, got the car running. So I'm checking and it's a sealed transmission in that, so you can't check that. But I checked, there's a hydraulic reservoir in the front for the active, it's an active sway bar, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's got hydraulic, and it's the same hydraulic circuit that runs the steering, but it also can put pressure to, because it's a 7, so it's a big, heavy, long car. It weighs the better part of 6,400 pounds.
Yeah.
And so it's got hydraulics in it that can, as you go into a corner, it can level it, kind of just bring it back to not feel like a big, heavy car.
Yeah.
And so it's an absolute blast to drive. And if you've got a family, it's basically your only option if you're wanting to bring them along for these things.
Yeah.
Popped a coolant cap. Milkshake. So no big V8 BMW for me this year. We're gonna be pulling that motor out and doing a rebuild. But I looked at it as I've had enough bad car luck this year. We're gonna look at this as a blessing, and now it's gonna get a supercharger for the BMW.
Yeah.
The car is very slow in today's standard. We're gonna fix that.
Just think of the long lives that your cars are going to live after this year.
It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great.
Everything's new.
It
cost me loads of pain and suffering and
I went through a lot of my bad car karma this last year. My Mazda developed some really weird issues that was really difficult to track down. But we got that all fixed and it's running like a top now. It's absolutely fantastic. Our Sienna went through a couple of recalls. We got those done. That's fine. Took a couple days in the shop here and there, but it's running like a top now. Got in my truck, was it yesterday morning, I think? and the truck has been the most reliable thing in my fleet. My 2013 Ram 1500 5.7 Hemi.
A 2007 Durango, most reliable one in the
most
fleet.
reliable vehicle in my fleet. One of the most reliable vehicles I've ever had. Only second to my my other two Nissans. So I've had my 350Z, which never had a problem. I've had I had a 2012 Nissan Frontier with the 4-liter V8. I did 100,000 miles on that truck. Never had a problem. I fed it fluids. That was it. I think at one point I caught a rock off the highway and it hit one of the body control modules and sent a bunch of warning lights on my dash. And took it into the dealership and they went, wow, yeah, that shouldn't have happened. And I think I spent like $400 on a new body control module, and that was it. That's the only problem I ever had with that truck. And then before that, I had a 2004 Nissan Maxima, and I did 160,000 miles. I put brakes, tires, and oil in that. I never did anything else. 106. I sold it with 205.
There's yeah, I guess if you really look around, and it's hard if you're trying to buy new, and I'm at the stage in my life where I'm like, I have a few kind of refined things. And one of those things is I when I get in my car, I want it to feel like it just came off the rental lot.
Yeah.
Like I just got off the airplane, picked it up. I want it to be perfectly clean every time. So like I'm that psychopath that's out there at the end of the week scrubbing
You've got
seats.
that Sunday dad energy.
Totally do, man. It's here and I'm embracing every second of it.
For the chat, so they know, you texted me unprompted like 4 hours ago before I asked you to be on the show.
Yeah.
Your wax job on your truck.
I did. I was like, you might appreciate this because I was like, I know Jeff likes cars.
And I did. I totally appreciated it.
Yeah. It looked like a picture of my neighbor's house, and then you backed out. Oh, it's the truck.
Yeah. He sent me a video of the reflection in the fender of his truck, and then he backed out, and it's like, oh, it's just a glass finish. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I literally, so that's the truck that was in the shop for so long. And then I took it on a big road trip for some stuff and came back and I was like, I'm really just gonna treat it and love it. And I got out. So I, in a previous life, have experience working in an auto body shop. So I kind of know like how not to screw up paint and what you can do to like make it look really good.
Yeah.
So I cleaned off all the coating on it, cut it with buffing pad, polished it with 3 stages of a foam pad and polish, and then put a ceramic coat on it, and then put a ceramic safe wax on top of that. And I went, hot damn, it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
And then I went, wow, I spent all day outside. Yeah, I don't know. Sunday dad energy is a good way to describe it. But,
my dad wasn't that type. My dad would definitely wash his cars, and I'll wash my cars, like, you know, but I'm not super into washing the car. Like, I like them to look nice, but I also understand that I like to drive them, and a little bit of dust, a little bit of grime, like it adds character. Like I'm totally that guy.
If there's water spots burned into the clear coat, it's gonna bug me.
Oh yeah, that will bug me. But because I went over a puddle and there's a little splash on the fender.
Let that sit. Let that sit for 2 days.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
though. No more than 2, because you're gonna burn it into the clear coat. And we're gonna do this whole thing again.
I don't mind patina on a car. I don't mind lived in. My truck is full of dents and full of scratches, and I could not love it anymore. This truck is just fantastic, and I don't mind vehicles telling a story, especially if it's my work vehicle.
Yeah.
My 350Z I took care of. I was that guy who would go out and wax it and everything else. But the truck, it's a truck.
I got vehicle stories now. I got another one for you. So I've now had a total of 6 bird strikes in my entire life. Okay. 3 of those were in airplanes. The other 3 were in cars. Okay. So chronologically, my first ever bird strike, I'll never forget. My girlfriend, now wife at the time, and I were driving. I had a 2500 Silverado. Blew up a pigeon on the front right headlight. Just not even driving that fast, like 45, 50 miles an hour on like a side, like normal road, kind of just doing a thing. Bird didn't move. Didn't see bird till last minute. What am I to do? Slam on brakes?
Not gonna swerve for a bird.
Well, it wasn't even about swerving. It was just like, holy shit, the bird's still there. Boom.
Yeah.
The truck was so tall, he could have just taken. He probably could have just stayed there, and I would have driven over him. But anyways, bird strike number 1. Bird strike number 2. Got a Piper Cherokee. Take off, rotate, see the bird. Boom! Right off the wing. Oh, okay. Well, we'll see how that goes. Big old dent in the thing.
Yep.
Second bird strike, Cessna, wheel pant, right wheel pant. Same thing. Take off. Damn it, there's a bird there. Okay, let's kind of more experienced at that point. Let's kind of scoot over. Oh, no, okay.
Shift a little bit. He's shifting with me.
That all happened in 0.75 of a second, and boom, bounced off the wheel pant, exploded. No damage, right? That didn't dent or anything. The wing was dented in the first one. The third one, had a buddy who had a Seneca 2, I believe it was. It was a Seneca 2 or a 310. I can't remember what plane we were flying, but sent it through the left prop. Feathers everywhere. That was fun. Bird strikes number 5 and 6 both happened within the last week on the Denali on the Yukon. First one, driving home, took it right in the hood crease. I'm going through Iowa at like 90 miles an hour. Yeah. Just the flat, not flat, but like the straight, perfectly straight whoop roads that are there. Yeah. And I'm like, there's birds everywhere. This thing, I'm not kidding you, came straight perfectly down and just exploded. Blood, feathers, everything stuck to the windshield.
Yeah.
Felt horrible. Literally pulled off at the next exit and had to like compose myself. Felt horrible.
Yeah.
And I'm on the phone with my wife when it happened. I remember seeing the carcass fly up, and I could look through the sunroof and see it up, and then I remember looking in the right-hand rear view mirror and seeing it finally fall behind me. Like it was it was one of those things. And then the last one happened a couple of days ago, just after I got home. Same thing, bird straight down, boom, right into the headlight. So hopefully my bird murdering days are completely over.
You've got your quota filled for the year.
Oh my God. I feel so bad. I've been like, this has been like on my conscience, like having dreams about birds.
I have a couple owl stories.
Oh no.
So the first story is a really good story. I was up in Eastern Oregon, me and my dad, and I think my mom was there too. So it must have been early on.
Keep telling, I'm listening. I'm grabbing some.
Yeah. So we were up hunting up in Eastern Oregon, and driving along some roads, and we come around a corner, and in the middle of the road at like 2 p.m, there's an owl in the middle of the road, and it's trying to fly away, but it can't get up. It gets like 4 feet in the air, and then it falls on the ground and rolls on the ground, and then it like recomposes itself and tries to fly again. Quite obviously has a broken wing. And so me and my dad get out of the truck, and we grab this old like puffy coat that's in the back of our, I think it was a Jeep Cherokee at the time. And we catch the owl, and we get it in the back of the car, and there's a ranger station not far from where we're at, and so we drive about the hour to the ranger station, and it turns out that this owl is a great horned owl. It is an endangered species, federal endangered species, that has a broken wing, and the rangers were like, holy crap, thank you for bringing this in. And like we rescued this owl, and I assume it went on to live a healthy life because we got it to where it needed to go, and it got the care that it needed because it was an endangered species. We didn't even get in trouble because it was an endangered species. It was like, no, thank you for bringing in an animal that needed help. And,
yeah, we needed this.
Right, exactly. And so you're like, check one for good owl karma. Maybe 3 years later, we're driving back up through Eastern Oregon. Many hours from where this happened, but we're driving through a little speck on the map in Eastern Oregon called John Day, and we're about 10 minutes from where we're trying to drive to, and I'm in the passenger seat and my dad's driving his truck. I think it was a Ram 2500, and all I remember seeing is the wing of an owl out the passenger window that then hit the truck as we're driving like 65, 70 miles an hour through Eastern Oregon. Dented the truck.
Oh, no.
Hit right behind the passenger door.
That was a big bird.
Left a dent about this big in the side of the door.
Man.
Yeah.
One of my friends, oh my God, that's a big bird.
It was a giant wing. It was a wing that came up like, yeah.
Wow. Because I was gonna say, like,
it was
a pigeon. So like when the bird strike happened on the Cherokee, right? Like it's, so for those playing along at home, Piper Cherokee, it's single engine.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Toyota Corolla of the skies.
Right.
Airplane skin, even at the airliner, it's a little thicker on the airliners, but in general aviation, airplane skin for unpressurized stuff is like one notch above aluminum foil.
Yeah.
It's like beverage can thickness.
Yeah.
A pigeon putting a dent in that when I'm doing 75, 90 miles an hour, somewhere in there, is one thing. To put it into a freaking door, that's insane.
To put it into the skin of a Ram 2500.
Those are beefy doors, too.
Yeah.
Because they know what those trucks are going to do.
It was a dent 8 inches across.
That's wild.
Legit. Like,
one of my friends messaged me. They're like, you need to stop polishing your car so much. You're confusing the birds.
And then the only other notable animal strike I've ever had was a rabbit.
Those suck.
Yeah. And I was driving I had a 94 Toyota Celica.
Good car.
Yeah, really good car. It was the first model year of, is that the 6th or 7th gen? Yeah, it was when they went from the
I don't know Celica lore.
It was where they went from the very 80s with the pop-up headlights to the very rounded of the mid 90s.
Okay.
It wasn't the Cybertruck one, which was the 98 model Celica.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like the angled, like straight out of the Matrix version. It was the one in between. It was the good looking version of the Celica.
It was a 92?
It was a 94.
So, but without...
It was the Bug Eye 94.
Okay. I see it now.
It had the two large round lights and then the two inner running lights. Whereas
not pop-ups?
The 92 was the pop-ups.
Oh, I'm still looking at 93. Hang on. I just gotta see
92, 93 are the previous
Okay, I know
gen.
this car. Okay,
Yeah.
I know this car. Okay,
Yeah.
I got it in my head.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
This is
really good
important
car.
for me.
Loved that car. 5-speed. It was the GT. It had the 2.2 four-banger. God, it was a good car. I'm driving some backcountry roads in Oregon, and 9 o'clock at night, and I see on my left side, just like at a glance out of the headlights, this just coming across the road. And it goes bump, 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 thwack.
I was gonna say it goes bump, bump, bump. Jeff goes bump, bump.
I only ever saw the ears.
Oh no! Oh god, that's such a
little bunny foo-foo hopping through the thwack. I felt so bad.
I hate killing animals, man.
So do I.
The birds, like, I feel bad about every single one.
Yeah.
And then to give the viewers context, I live in a foresty area, and I remember one time almost creaming a deer in my '07 Dodge. It didn't let me down. Just screaming along, +5 over the speed limit as one does on an empty night highway.
Right, totally.
All of a sudden, I see the eyes, and it's not. If it's one side of the road, generally you're okay. If all of the eyes are over here, like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
The problem that started to happen was the eyes started coming over here too.
Little twinkles from both sides.
Yeah. And so I go, I should probably slow down.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, eyes right in front of me.
Yep.
And man, I know a couple people who have like just creamed deers. I'll send you a picture. One that got hit right out front of my house there 6 months ago.
That I've hit a deer once. It was right after I got married. So I had, when I got married, a 98 Chevy Tracker, and I loved that car. That was a super fun car. It was a 5-speed 4x4, 1.6 liter, go anywhere, do anything.
Free deer meat.
My battery was dead that morning, and I had to go to work, and so I drove my wife's car to work that morning, which was a 98 Neon. It was a Dodge Neon.
Oh, dude, sickest fuck. Sorry, can we cuss here? I forget. Sickest fucking cars ever.
We're allowed
Dodge
one F-bomb
Neon.
per episode. So
okay, I just used 2 of them.
Cool.
You're screwed on the next one, Rhett.
Yeah.
I want to find it doesn't have to be clean. It just has to not be rusted out. Neon.
Right.
So bad.
2 liter, pre-2000s Dodge. God, it's such a good motor. I don't know why they never caught on. I think it's because Civic and Prelude still had like a stranglehold on pop culture, but the 98 Neon was such a good little runner. And
my stepdad had one. It was
super fun to drive. So that's what my wife's car was a 98 Neon. And so I'm like,
his was actually the neon green too.
This was the red. She had the red. So I'm like, hey, my car's dead. I'm gonna drive. You have to work today? No, you don't have to work today. Okay, I'm gonna drive your car to work. And she goes, okay, cool. And so I leave for work at like 5 a.m. And
you put a deer through the front end.
So I'm driving to work, and I'm on backcountry road, 60 miles an hour. And I see a doe standing on the right side of the road from like a quarter mile away. And I went, don't do it. And the doe took 1 step, and I went, don't you. And I'm already hitting the brakes. I'm like, don't you freaking do this. And then the doe took another step, and I'm doing like 30 miles an hour already. And then as soon as I get right by it, it takes a hop right in front of me. And so I'm like, I'm not going to swerve, but I'm also not going to hit you square.
Son of a biscuit.
Like I'm not going to kill myself by swerving and losing control.
Right.
But I'm also not going to hit you square. So I'm coming over as far as I can because 2-lane road. And I took its front legs out from under it with the front quarter. And I took its front legs out. Its head hit my window, hit the windshield. It took the rearview mirror off and dented the whole side of the car.
Oh my God.
I was so mad. I was so mad. Yeah.
God, I mean, I'm trying to think about like if you've lived in, so for the people at home, if you've lived in places where there's deer like this, you know that Jeff did the right thing. For people who, because I've lived in both places, if you live in places that don't have these problems,
yeah,
it's like, oh, why didn't you just swerve to avoid the deer? And it's like, because you can't.
Right.
And so it's so frustrating because you just can't.
Because swerving means
yeah.
Look, I'm a good driver. I am a very skilled driver.
Never been in an accident.
I have been in an accident. I have been in one where someone ran a red light, ran a stop sign on me, and
that doesn't count.
And I T-boned them at about 45. And also in that situation, I'm on my way home. It's a Friday afternoon, 4:30 in the afternoon, and I did the same thing that I did with the deer. Is I saw the situation and I went, "Don't do it." 2-lane road.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens when a Toyota Sienna pokes its nose halfway into your lane? Do you go, "Oh shit," and slam over to the left? No, because that's oncoming traffic. So you understand you're going to hit. And in my brain, I actually had the Adam Savage moment of clarity because he gave this recollection of Underwater Car Myth, where he goes, I could either panic and start like scrambling and whatever else, or he goes, calm people live, frantic people die. Yeah. And I had that moment of clarity. And so I knew I was going to hit. And so I stepped on the brake, but I let go of the steering wheel and I put my arms by my side and I literally went, and I just went limp. Because it's like, I know I'm going to hit them. The only decision is how hard. And I hit him, and I remember hitting, and then I remember seeing sky, and then I remember landing.
You went over?
I hit him, and this was in my Celica. I hit him, and I remember coming up. Because I went over his front driver tire. And so it launched my car. But I came down to rest in a straight line, so I never entered the oncoming lane. But I came down in the middle of the road, and I went, okay. Fingers, toes, legs, arms, like, okay, I'm all right. I'm okay.
Head, shoulders, knees, and toes.
That's exactly right. Toes. Head bone connected to the neck bone. Like you go through the whole check, and I went, all right, I'm okay, cool.
So, no, go ahead, because I'm gonna totally derail the conversation right now.
I T-boned this Toyota Sienna right behind the driver's side door. And like the meat of a minivan. My front right wheel went over his front left wheel, and that's why I went airborne. But like I said, the recollection I have of the accident is I remember watching the nose come out, and I went, "Don't do it. I can't do anything." And then I slammed on the brakes, and then the next thing I remember is I'm looking at sky. out my windshield. I'm looking at sky from like this angle.
I've rolled cars racing, not colliding with people, but just like going a little too silly, and then you hit the dirt and you roll.
Yep.
That doesn't sound fun.
Yeah. I've done that on a quad. I've done that on a four-wheeler a couple times. I've seen sky on a four-wheeler. I've rolled a four-wheeler. Yep.
So, I have a question for you.
Sure.
So I say Dodge Neon. Does Chrysler Neon mean anything to you?
Chrysler Neon is the same vehicle. So Dodge and Chrysler.
I know that. I didn't know that Chrysler had. I know that they're the same, but I didn't know Chrysler had it. And somebody in chat is a friend of mine and has been listening to the conversation.
Okay.
And just sent me a 2000 Chrysler Neon for sale for $1,000.
There you go. What you want, the car you have in your head, is I want to get a hold of a Neon. That's not what you want. You want an SRT4. That's what you want.
I know what you're saying.
When I say I want a Celica, a 6th gen Celica, what I mean is I want the Toyota GT4, GTFOUR. Which is the all-wheel drive 2-liter turbo rally version of the Celica. When you think Neon, there's the people who say I want a Honda Civic, but then what they want is the Prelude.
Hang on, I'm flipping through this to see what motor it has. Where is
you
it?
want a 2000 Dodge SRT4. That's the car you want.
This has a 2-liter 16 valve.
Yes.
You know what I think I want? I think I want the modern Neon, which is the Chrysler 200S.
Yes.
Which is the same 3.5 liter, 3.6 liter V6 that's in my wife's Durango.
Yes.
In a tiny compact car.
Yes.
And all-wheel drive.
Yes. That's exactly what you want.
I think Doug DeMuro said the quote, "Step the fuck aside, Subaru." Sorry, I just used up another one for the episode. Here I come with my 300 horsepower all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Weighs nothing.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yes.
Carvana has one right now for $15,000.
Dude. Yeah. I had the opportunity to buy a GT4, JDM import, right-hand drive, 5-speed GT4 for 19 a couple of years ago. And I had literally just bought my 350Z. And my wife goes, "Is the 350Z your forever car, or is the GT4 your forever car?" And I went, honestly...
What are we taking?
Right. Like, look, I loved my 350Z, and the 350Z was definitely a bucket list car. Jeff has Nismo in his head. I'm definitely a Nismo fan. I am definitely, God, give me a 240Z, like an old school 76 240. Give me a GTR, give me a G34, G36. Give me, I love Nismo. I'm unabashedly a Nismo fan. But man, there's a couple of cars that are even beyond that on my bucket list, and I think a GT4 is on there. But my wife goes, "You could trade in your 350, and you can go get this GT4. But that's the most money I'm letting you spend on a fun car, on your sidecar." Because you still need your truck, you still need these other things. Like that's probably your limit. And I went, "I'll keep the 350. I'll be a good boy." And then I sold the 350. So
I have one more bucket list car that I have to own. In the very near future, because they're about to get to the age where it's going to be a problem. And it's 2012-ish BMW 760. The twin turbo V12.
Mm-hmm.
I have not had a V12 with hair dryers.
I went and test drove an 02, 03, 840 at one point, which is the V12 coupe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So imagine that with a blowjob.
With blowers.
I mean,
yeah.
with a hair dryer.
With blowy matrons.
I mean turbos.
Yeah, with blowy matrons on the side. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, 2 of them.
Yeah, no, I did test drive. Please get me an 87 Grand National. That's a great choice, Novella. I appreciate that choice so much.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Can I be real and say how horny I am for just a C8?
Yes, I'll allow it. And I'll allow it because it's probably, I mean, well, you called it a C8 instead of a Corvette.
Yeah. C8
So.
Specifically. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not a Corvette guy. I'm not a Mustang guy. I'm not an American horsepower pony car guy. That's not me. But when Chevy went mid-engine fiberglass LS8 modded to a midship car, I'm on board.
Carvana has one right now for 2024 with 4,400 miles for $8,200. You can just go buy it online. They'll deliver it to your house.
Yeah. 8,200, 82,000.
82,000.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My problem is
I would take one of these, but it's too much right now. For me, it's too much for a toy.
Yeah, my problem is the C8 was supposed to be the $60,000 F420. And a couple people got them at retail, but almost no one did, and most of them sold for $90 because they're the LT2s and they've got all the options and things like that. And it's like, no, I want the $60,000 C8. And I'd prefer the 3-year used $42,000 C8. That's the car that I want.
Auto Trader's got some for like 70, 60 grand.
The problem is they were supposed to be $59,900 brand new. The 2021 C8 was supposed to be $59,900.
Yeah, but
and I'm sorry, but I'm not buying $20,000 in options.
What was the MSRP of a 5080, right?
I mean, yeah.
Same thing, but different.
Right? Yeah. I mean,
oh man.
Look, we can play the percentage game all we want, but when you multiply that by a factor of 15 or 20, like if I told my wife right now, I need for my business, for my daily use, an RTX 5090, and the only price for that is $3,200, she would go, okay. I know that's 60% above retail, but you need that thing for your business. If I went out and said,
all I'm hearing is we need to start a car channel.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
Let's just do it.
Okay.
We'll figure it out. Obviously, we know how YouTube works.
Right. I mean, we could totally do that.
Just start a car channel.
Yeah.
Jeff needs a C8.
Jeff needs a C8. Jeff needs a C8 and a K truck. Like, yeah. Give me those two.
I need a supercharged Escalade and a supercharged Neon. You know,
give me like a 2004 Subaru Sambar and
I saw there was so I was in Colorado.
Do you know why? I want a 99 or higher because they went EFI.
Oh,
it's no longer carbureted, and so you don't have to do carb adjustments and jetting problems. And everything else. Yeah, it's all electronic ignition. So give me like a 99 and above K truck, and I'll make some content for you.
I love K cars.
Oh, me too.
So you'll laugh at this. So I was in Colorado not too long ago, and I was driving on I think it's the 40. It's between Denver and like it's the main north-south. I think it's the 40.
Yeah.
Uh, pulled up behind a guy in a Subaru Baja that's blue. The license plate is Baja Blast.
Nice.
I said the same thing. This guy won the car.
My sister owns a 2024 Subaru Crosstrek. Has a bumper sticker on the back of it that says "Powered by Baja Blast."
That's a good one.
Not even kidding. I put it on the car for her.
You have to. All right, so chat, we're starting a car channel now.
Yeah, we're starting a car channel now, apparently, because we've been talking cars for almost an hour straight.
I know. Chat's like, I don't know what's going on, but we're here for it.
Yeah, what the hell?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, Novella says he would settle for an 87 Buick Regal T-Type. That's a good option if you can't find the Grand National. Yeah, Bearded Gearheads is the new channel name. We could totally make that work for us. I mean...
Ooh. That's close. That's close. I think that's... It's going to have to... It needs a little more
I got it. Beers and Braps. Brap. You want the turbo noises and the... So Beards and Braps instead of Beers and Brats. Beards and Braps. BRAHPS.
Yeah. Feels a little pigeonholy. There's hold on, there's something with the alliteration there though.
I like alliteration.
Beards, Brews.
Beards, Brews, and Braps.
I don't know. I can't drink and drive.
Yeah, I've always been scared of starting a car channel and trying to integrate alcohol into it. Because that's just... morally, it's wrong.
It's not wrong if we're visiting different breweries and wineries.
If we're like
and
road tripping,
spending, yeah, that's morally okay. That's morally, actually preferred.
Yeah,
distilleries, whiskey distilleries, bourbon places.
Yeah,
whatever those are called. Bourbon, beards, bourbons, and God,
I kind of like not even including beers in the name, but go beards and braps.
Yeah,
beards and braps.
Okay.
Because Japan Auto is all about brap. Like that's where that sound comes from. It's the Subaru, Toyota, brap, 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 brap. Nissan, Nismo.
Zexus just got it.
Beards, Brews, and Burnouts. That's Zeus. Yeah.
Oh.
He has an X in there. We all just assume it's silent. So it's Zeus. Beards, Brews, and Burnouts. I think that's it. Gears and Beers. No, I think that's too alcohol-y. That's too alcohol forward. Like that there's a fine line between I try to promote healthy alcohol consumption on this channel where
let me borrow your press car to road trip from Salt Lake City to Washington to go to a winery and I'm going to review the car and the wine at the end.
Right.
Is a much easier sell than hey, it's two dudes who like beer, give us your car.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like Portland has one of the largest whiskey museums in the country. And so like making that a destination for a road trip is certainly. Now, for me, that's not much of a road trip, but if I flew out to you and we road tripped back, there's a video.
It's quite a road trip.
That's a long road trip. But maybe if we met in Salt Lake City and we road tripped to Portland.
All right. Well,
or we
sounds like we're launching a new channel, Jeff.
or we flew to Denver and we road tripped to like Kentucky somewhere for a bourbon distillery, or
oh no, that just sounds like a terrible time. I would never want to do anything like that. God, get out of here. This idea is dumb. Don't talk about this one anymore. We got planning to do and scripts to write.
Yeah. Yeah. Beard shift. That's not a bad one.
I kind of like that. All right, we're gonna have to noodle on this one a little bit.
Yeah.
Well,
because I know you trim yours down every once in a while. Like mine stays right about this length. I did have a down to here at one point. Maybe that'll return at some point.
We're coming back full length. This is what a few months at it. We're going back full force. Don't you worry.
I keep mine trimmed right about here. Like I like a little bit of length on the chin, but the sides just get to me. Like
I feel you on that. I am going to send. I have a link for not for the chat. Sorry. I have a link for you later, and then Dunk. Yeah, who might be onto something here? How many servers can we run off of the integrated power supply of the vehicle?
I love what you just sent me.
20 minutes from my house? Anyways.
That has potential.
Yeah. Find a sponsor for that.
We could make this work.
Yeah.
We could totally make this work. Yeah. Cool. Well,
I think for me, I gotta jet because I have to be a responsible father tomorrow and take my child to an amusement park.
Yes, I was just gonna say it is 35 past the hour. We're look at one point we started Talking Heads as a 1-hour show, and eventually like we started going 90 minutes regularly, and then we pushed to like 2 and 2:10, and I went screw it, it's a 2-hour show, and then we held 2 hours for the longest time. But then for the last 2 months, we have been stretching that to the 3-hour mark, and I kind of say, nay. Like, at some point, the fun has to end, and we need to...
I'll see you all again in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Jordan will be at Computex in 2 weeks. Me and Rhett will be doing the live stream from one of our 2 hotel suites, because I have a really ballin' room. Jordan's got a really ballin' room. We'll figure out which is the more ballin', and then we'll do the show from there. So we'll be on the show live from Computex on, what is that, the 21st? 21st local time, 22nd Taipei time. Will be like 9 a.m. Yeah, we'll be opening beers 9 a.m. in Taipei for your enjoyment at 6 p.m. Pacific. So...
Yes, we will.
Yeah, so I am fully committed to that. To like, we will be broadcasting at 6 p.m. official Pacific time.
Taiwan has some nice beers.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I'm looking forward to trying some.
I'll get everything that I liked last time gathered up.
Excellent.
I'm going a few days ahead of you, so I'll have some time to do some shopping.
Yeah, because you're coming in a couple days in advance. I'm coming in Sunday the 18th. We land at like 4 a.m. And we're gonna get settled in our room that day and figure everything out. Monday and Tuesday we've got some commitments. Wednesday I am fully committed to one vendor in particular. Thursday I've got some other I've got like podcasts most of the day. Like I think 9 a.m. is our podcast, and then 11 a.m. is PC World. We're doing a full nerd.
Oh, with that Adam guy.
And there might be some Nick dude from Gear Seekers there as well. Allegedly. Yeah. So yeah, Nick and I are finally going to be in the same room at the same time and on camera together. So we're looking forward to that. With some Adam dude and maybe a Will. So that'll be fun. But then Friday and Saturday, I have nothing. So Jordan, let's go hit the town.
I know some pretty cool spots.
That's exactly right. So
impromptu live stream.
Possibly. Like, yeah, there might be a late week live stream that happens because we find somewhere cool to be. So stay tuned. But anyway, that's going to do it for episode 381 of Talking Heads. Join us every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. But yeah, this has been going for a while. That number gets even more surreal every week. 381.
It's always a pleasure, though.
Yes. Thank you for joining me, even if it's always on late notice. You have been advised 2 weeks in advance of the next appearance, though. So
yeah, this next one I'm actually booked for. It's not,
you gotta
hey,
bring your
everybody
A-game
else
to the next one.
canceled.
Yeah. Join us every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time for the latest in beer and tech news. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Drop this video a like. Join the Patreon. Get access to the exclusive Discord server. Chat with myself, John, Rhett, Steve, Jordan, all the hosts from Talking Heads. Join the community that has a great time hanging out there throughout the week. Jordan, anything else to plug while you've got the mic in front of you?
No plugs this time.
No plugs? Yeah.
No plugs.
I do have a link to your home lab review down in the video description.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thanks, guys, for watching, and just happy to hang out.
Cool.
No plugs yet, but beards and burnouts maybe soon.
Yeah, beards and burnout. That sounds like a solid channel name.
Yeah. I'm looking for PR emails right now.
Do we get Aaron from Gas Monkey Garage to join? Like, is that the missing link?
Him or Mike Finnegan?
I've got a contact for Mike Finnegan, so
I'm aware.
Yeah, we can make that work.
Anyways,
I think that would be tough. I'm gonna drop one more and say fuck it. I'm a car YouTuber. Let's go.
Yeah, why not?
let's effing go. Cool. You may have just seen a career shift in real time. Join us every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Until I'm a car YouTuber, and until then, we'll see you in the next video. Cheers, everyone.